Hi there, it's Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing some big and bold designed cards with you using new stamps and dies from Colorado Craft Company. So we've got a little bit of everything here, from some holiday and Christmas winter type of cards to some birthday or can be other types of cards because the stamp sets come with multiple phrases, just cards that feature big, bold images. I wanted to share some of my favorite ways to incorporate them into a standard A2 sized card. We are starting with probably my favorite stamp set from the release. It's really hard to pick, but I am a sucker for Vintage Santa. So Vintage Santa was up first. We are stamping him on Bristol Smooth cardstock with Lawn Fawn Jellyfish No Line Coloring ink. I'm using Bristol so that I can do some no line coloring with my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. Once the stamping is done, and I did stamp it more than once, I stamped it twice just to make sure we get a really good clean impression for all of that great detail, I am going to color with some Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. As always, when I am coloring with zigs, I want to color anything light first before I bring in the red. I have learned over time, if you even touch the red with the teeniest, tiniest tip of a lighter marker or your other marker, it will drag that color into areas you definitely don't want it to be. So if I would color the hat portion and then do the brim and the pom-pom in that light gray, the chances of transferring that color are just so much greater. So we'll be coloring face, trim, beard, anything there, and then we will do red last or anything. If it's not touching that area, you can always do that later, but I really like to do any red last. For the face, we started with beige and then pulled in some flesh color, finishing with pale pink for the cheeks. And then over the glasses, his spectacles, we're going to take a little haze blue and color that over the beige flesh color combination. Then we're going to move on to the brim of the hat and the pom-pom with gray tint and a blender. Just adding a tiny tiny little bit of color to that to give it that shading and add the detail in. Also the pom-pom here. He is just such an amazing image. I really, really love this Santa. I think he would make really cute Christmas tags if you wanted to as well. You could obviously do one layer, but I would probably do 2 layers where I would stamp and color, and then I would die cut again, and then die cut it again, and put them back, front to back. And on the back one, you can stamp like to and from and maybe a little message, but just punch a hole in the top of his hat and make him a hanging tag, and I think that would be beautiful. Don't forget to add his eyebrows in when coloring his mustache, beard, and hair. I'm using platinum brown, which brown sounds funny. I consider it more gray. Gray tint and the blender for this. And we're just going to work in little bits and areas at a time because this is probably the most prominent part of this image, and I am just going to work my way a little bit out, adding in all of that great detailing, kind of feathering in some of the gray tint here and there as well, eyebrows, all of the things. And then before I got too far into it, I am going to take a nice fine tip pen and just draw in the detail for the spectacles and for his eyes. And that instantly transforms his face, which for me is always the most important thing. Really super fun. Now that we have colored anything that's touching the red, I was anxious to get the red on there because even though red can be tricky, it truly transforms this image. So we're going in with deep red first. That's going to be kind of our detailing color. We're following the lines of the stamped image. And then we're going to blend out with red. I thought I would highlight in with a little bit lighter color, but it really didn't need it. And I ended up going over the whole thing with my red marker. So even though I left it in here to just show you, it really didn't make any difference. In fact, I think it didn't really work. And I was able to color over that and fix it, so that's why I left it in for you to see. Let's color in the rest of his beard now and get him die cut so that we can finish up this card. He's just such a fun, very fun image. I really, really love the vintage Santa. I love all Santas generally, but vintage Santa is my favorite. And he's just really, the detail on him for being such a big image is really great. Added in a little color for his mouth and like his lip there. Just adding in some nice feathering and shading. Don't be afraid to add that color in. I know it feels like you're going super gray when you do this. However, it adds so much depth, dimension, and character to a design. Now, once we have him completely colored in, we are ready to die cut him with the coordinating die. And there are some great dies that come in this collection. There's like a couple of tags. There's some that coordinate with sentiments, which we will be using. And then there are of course, some sentiments themselves that we can use. And really can kind of mix and match to say what you want to say, which is what I am going to do for my card. But first, I wanted to make some sort of an interesting background for my design. And to do that, I'm actually going to use an embossing folder from Simon Says Stamp. And we're going to ink the embossing folder, run it through our die cutting machine with that inked folder, and it's going to give us a really great, interesting background that showcases and highlights this perfectly. We're using some Dusty Sage ink from Simon Says Stamp on the flatter portion of our Holiday Greenery embossing folder. I'm going to fold that shut, run it through, and it's going to transfer the ink from the embossing folder to the cardstock, not only transferring the ink, but embossing the beautiful Holiday Greenery image. So this is so, so pretty. And the ink will kind of smooth and dry out. This is a dye ink. So it might look a little blotchy right now, but it will clean up nicely. And then we're going to stamp some sentiments and put the rest of the card together. So starting with the sentiments that are going to be stamped directly over his beard, or actually, I'm sorry, I started with the little flag that says from. So there's a coordinating die for this. I stamped that with black VersaFine ink on smooth white cardstock, and then we'll die cut that with the coordinating die. I really love the mix of fonts here. I don't always, but it works so, so well with these designs. Gives it a little bit of a whimsical feel. So we're going to just die cut that little flag. Then I've got the Merry, the Christmas, and the Santa. And the Merry Christmas does not have coordinating dies, so we're going to stamp and emboss that directly over the beard. But Santa does have a coordinating die, so we're going to stamp that on smooth white cardstock with clear embossing ink and heat emboss with red embossing powder before die cutting with the coordinating die. And we're going to be popping both of these up with a little foam adhesive. Foam adhesive is my favorite trick for giving a little bit of added interest to cards that maybe don't have a ton of different layers or different pieces. And since we are highlighting and focusing on big, bold images today, there isn't going to be room for a lot of other things. And when there's not a lot of room, I like to find ways of incorporating or implementing some dimension in other ways. And foam adhesive is a great way to do that. Let's lay the Santa in our Misty and let's stamp Merry and Christmas with clear embossing ink. And this time, instead of doing red, we're going to emboss with antique gold embossing powder, which is going to give a completely different look. I love how this looks on here. You'll see that here in a minute. And heat set that, and then we will stamp the other word. I stamped and embossed them separately, and the reason being is that I was able to get them closer together than if I tried to stamp them at the same time. So I was able to I call it buddying them up, but just getting them a little closer together than what I could have if I left the strips as is. Let's heat emboss that, and then we're ready to put it together and add our finishing detail touches, which is always the best part because that's what brings it all together. On the back of Santa, we're going to cover him with some foam adhesive and pop him up over our holiday greenery background. We're going to take glossy accents and apply that to his spectacles, which gives him a wonderful glossy realistic finish. We're going to put foam adhesive on the back of the banner as well as on the back of the word Santa, and pop those up to finish off the Merry Christmas from Santa sentiment. His beard does hang off the bottom of the card a bit, plus I think maybe his pom-pom hangs off the left a bit, and the very tippy top of his hat hangs off the top. We are going to be flipping the whole panel over and snipping away anything that hangs off of this because our background panel does measure 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, which is A2 standard card size. Now that we have our sentiments, we could really leave our card as is. It's beautiful, but I love to add a few little finishing parts and pieces, I call it. So we added a little black heart. This is from Trinity Stamps, little clay heart accent, and then a whole bunch of these matte gold star confetti pieces from Lucy's Little Things. I'm going to scatter these throughout, some even over Santa. And I love them because when you tip them in the light, they just reflect and add a great little bit of detail all over. Then we'll just add this to a white card base and we are all finished. Let's move on to our beautiful perfume bouquet. So it's kind of like a perfume bottle with some, it looks to me like peonies in this. We're going to build our background first with tumbled glass and Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide inks. I know they might seem like they don't go together, but it truly is my favorite new Distress Oxide color combination. I absolutely adore this. We're going to blend in the tumbled glass first and then pull in a lot of the Rustic Wilderness, which is the brand new Distress Oxide color or Distress color from Tim Holtz. It is the perfect green. I mean, I didn't even know we were missing a green until he brought this out, and it's literally my favorite green. It's so, so beautiful. The perfect Christmas green, great for all kinds of images. Just a really fantastic distress color. We're going to blend that up into the tumbled glass, and then we're going to bring the tumbled glass back down into the Rustic Wilderness. Spritz this whole panel with a little water from a distress sprayer so it has some oxidation to it. And that's what we're going to do to highlight our images. I know this seems like maybe a funnier color combination for what we're going to be using, but I created this background already. And when I colored in the image for the perfume bottle, I realized right away that I thought it was going to really pop against this background, and it does. I think this background is going to work for a lot of floral type of cards. So if you're looking for a great color combination, you might want to try this, whether it's with oxides or regular distress inks, because I think it's really beautiful with bright, bold floral colors. We're going to stamp the Perfume Bouquet with clear embossing ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder. So this is different from the first card. The first card we did no line coloring. This time we are going to stamp and emboss and do a little kind of faux watercolor within the embossed lines. This is one of my all-time favorite techniques with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, because it allows you to, again, it's a faux, I call it faux watercolor, but still get that watercolor look. Maybe if you aren't super comfortable with watercolor, which I am not, so I love this because I'm still able to, you know, pull in a little bit of water and it doesn't go running all over the card base like it does when I actually try to watercolor. And I missed a little section. I still had my stamp in the Misty, so I just kind of re-stamped this little leaf here that's laying down over the front of the perfume bottle. I know it's so hard to see, and these are so beautifully detailed. It really takes until I kind of get some more color on these flower petals before you can see the images. But I'm laying down peach pink and then sugared almond pink and taking a water brush pen and pulling that color out more. The water is going to give us the more watercolored look and effect, plus lighten out any of our dark color. And I kept to just this color combination for all of the florals in this Perfume Bouquet. For the leaves, we're going to be using mid green, olive green, and pale dawn gray, just different combinations of those three green colors. And for the perfume bottle, we're going to be using blue gray and a blender. And this perfume bottle is so pretty as well. I'm kind of surprised how much I love it, but I really think it's cool. And then you can see a stem down there in the bottle from that stem of beautiful peonies. And then it's got a little label on it, but there is a separate label die. So there's the die that goes around this Perfume Bouquet image. Then there's a square for the label and then some sentiments and things. Oh, such a good stamp set. So for everyone who maybe already planned ahead and has all their Christmas card making and projects done, and you're ready to kind of move on from holiday, this is why I included some non-holiday projects in the video today, because I wanted to show you just some other things you can create. I love that there's some non-holiday product included in here. There's also some great non-holiday themed product coming from other companies as well. I've got quite a bit of new projects to share with you, even though I'm still doing some holiday crafting and sharing holiday crafting with you. But I love videos that kind of show you lots of different ideas so that it isn't just a Christmas or holiday based video, even though we're in December. And I don't know about you guys, but I am always needing birthday cards. And for whatever reason, sometimes I feel like I don't have the right ones, or I feel like they're maybe a little too whimsical or youngish, or just don't fit the theme. This would work for anyone. And one of the best things about this image, in my opinion, is there are other sentiments that work with this, even in this stamp set. It does not have to be just for birthdays. This could be, you know, sympathy or anything. And there is another floral stamp and die combo in this release that has sympathy greetings in it. You could mix and match that with this if you wanted to. It can be anniversary, it could be wedding, it could be thank you. I mean, really just encouragement. I am a big fan of stamp sets that are not just for a certain occasion. In fact, even though 2 of my cards today, one is very Christmas, and I mean, there's no way around it. Santa's Christmas. But the snowflake could very easily be a winter birthday or a New Year's card or anything really. You could even make that a thank you card. So definitely that has a little bit more wiggle room as well as far as the occasion that you can send it for. We are stamping Happy Birthday from this Perfume Bouquet stamp set on smooth white cardstock with clear embossing ink and heat embossing with antique gold embossing powder. And then we're die cutting with the coordinating die. So this has a coordinating die to it. They are so detailed. I love that Colorado Craft Company's sentiments that have coordinating dies are so detailed. It doesn't just die cut the outline. It die cuts little pieces inside of them as well. So loops get a little die cut in them. They just look so much better. I love it. I have stamped and embossed with white embossing powder the phrase "You are loved" on some smooth white cardstock. I inked over it with Rustic Wilderness, buffed away any ink on top of the sentiment, and then we're die cutting it with that coordinating square die that comes in the set that matches the label on our perfume bottle. We're going to just glue that down in place. We're going to put foam adhesive on the back of Happy Birthday, pop that up over the top of our perfume bottle so it all kind of flows together nicely. We did place the perfume bottle on our distress inked background, and I trimmed off the excess along the bottom edge just so it fits a little bit nicer. Again, this is a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch background. All of my backgrounds today completely cover the front of an A2 size card base. We're going to add these great little pink heart accents. I love how they just really work so well with the peonies. And we're going to place this on a white top fold card base, and that is going to be it for our Perfume Bouquet card. I love adding these little bits and pieces to the cards. I think it really finishes them off nicely and adds a little bit of interest. Beautiful flowers, and these can be colored in any color combination. Now we have our really beautiful snowflake. So I'm going to create another distress inked background. This one's really similar to the one we just did, only I'm using Mermaid Lagoon and Blueprint Sketch for this one. I wanted to kind of have that icy wintry feel. We're going to blend these 2 Distress Oxide inks together, spritz the background with a little bit heavier misting of water using a distress sprayer. So there's some bigger blotches on the background. So it kind of looks like snow flurries. And then I let this sit and completely dry. I actually moved on to the last card and came back to this one. But for the sake of the video, let's just pretend that, 30 minutes or 45 minutes have passed and I've come back to this one. The snowflake is gorgeous. I will tell you there's coordinating dies, so if you want to die cut this snowflake, you can. I think it would look amazing as gift tags. I might even try to do that. If you guys want to see some tags with Santa and the snowflake, if I have time and you want to see them, please drop me a note and let me know, and I will try to eke out a couple of those before Christmas gets here, because like I said, I think these are amazing and I'm a huge fan of shaped tags. I have stamped and embossed this on the background with white embossing powder. Off camera, I did stamp and emboss the phrase from the stamp set, "Sending you warm winter wishes." So again, yes, this could be sent for the holidays, but it would not have to. That's one of the things I like about this, is because I think it really just works for anything in the winter. But I'm going to stamp and emboss that with silver embossing powder on vellum and run it through a Xyron sticker maker for my card. So I did not use the coordinating die for the snowflake for the card today. Oh, and I guess I did leave it in the video. I thought maybe I did it off camera. but I did not. Too many videos lately, you guys. They're all running together. I can't ever remember if I've turned my camera off or if I left it running while I left the room for 30 minutes, because that's happened too. So, you know, we're just working with what we've got here. We're going to die cut this with a silver embossing powder. And these really just cut up nice and close to the sentiments. Really, really great dies. I love how Colorado Craft Company just didn't leave that huge border. I'm not a huge fan of the big border, so I really love this. The Xyron sticker maker will put a nice layer of adhesive all over the back of the vellum, making it like sticker-like. We're not going to have to worry about our adhesive showing through. And then this is probably the simplest card I made today. I'm going to just scatter some little clay snowflakes and some silver star confetti, and then finally some little blue snowflakes all over the design. And it just rounds it out perfectly. So good. A great card for mailing because it's nice and flat. And I'm using a little Ranger Multi-Matte Medium. I have a fine tip applicator on there. I know I get asked about this a lot. I do use this glue probably the majority of the time. And I just simply take that applicator tip off and place it on a new bottle when my glue runs out. And I had just done that. I don't know, maybe a day or two before this. I go through a lot of liquid glue. I go through a lot of adhesive, period, but I love always having extras on hand because I do really enjoy using that fine tip applicator. It gives you a nice teeny tiny little dab of glue so you don't have lots sticking out all over the place. Finally, we have a cupcake card that really could be used for anything. So kind of like our Santa card, I am inking up the Simon Says Stamp Lumen embossing folder, this time with a little mint colored ink. And the first time I did it, I didn't do it the direction I really liked. So you'll notice that I end up with two different backgrounds, and I picked the one I liked better to use for my card. I wanted subtle texture, subtle color. You could also get this with a stamp if you don't have embossing folders, but the embossing folders clean up really easily. You can use just like I use a microfiber cloth and a little stamp cleaner. You could also use a little soap and water, mild soap and water if you wanted to, and then make sure you dry it really, really well. And look, the detail is great, but I really wanted the other side. So that's why I just wanted to show you it does make a difference. And I'm just going to ink up the other side and see if I like that better. I'm going to save the background I just created though, because I could always use it for another card at another time. And you can tell that I did this, I hadn't done the snowflake card all the way yet because there's that background hanging out in the top of the video. It's drying. Okay, see, I like that just a little bit better. I wonder if I showed you guys, I hope I did. I hope I left that in the video so you could see the difference between the two backgrounds. I'm not sure if I did or not. So now we are going to stamp and color in this cupcake with no line coloring, and we are going to go full out rainbow mode here, which kind of was my plan all along. I was really excited about that because I always love a good rainbow, and I think against the subtle inking and embossing of the background, it's going to stand out really nice. So this is an amazing image. I love this cupcake. If you love big, bold images and maybe a little bit more surface area to color, no matter what the coloring medium is, please check out the Big and Bold series from Colorado Craft Company. They are absolutely amazing. And just gonna put in a little teaser right now. If you've made it with me this far, just stay tuned to mid-December, okay? because Colorado Craft Company is not done with the good release this month. And if you liked their release here a month or two ago, I did a video and you liked it, you're gonna like the mid-December release. So I don't want to share too much yet, but just be on the lookout because that's going to be coming to the channel. So they have so much good for us this month, which I love, love, love. I'm going to go all the way around my cupcake liner doing rainbow colors. If you have been with me for a while, you know that these are all my favorite color combinations for Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers. We've got green, or turquoise green with green shadow, blue and light blue. Kind of go through all of the color combinations that I'm using here as I'm coloring in all of these little areas. No water. I did not pull in water. If you feel comfortable pulling in water, definitely do that. You can use a water brush pen or a paintbrush dipped in water. Completely up to you. We got peach pink with sugared almond pink, a little red with light carmine, then we'll have our bright yellow with yellow. I kind of do a yellow-orange color combination instead of orange and then yellow. That's just generally what I do with this. Light green and yellow green. If you like a nice bright green, that's my favorite color combination. Then, of course, we're going to go back with our blue and light blue. I just didn't do a purple color combination here. Often I'll leave the purple out. If you guys love purple, I'm sorry. Purple is not my favorite. And I know I said that, and then a while back I did like loads of purple cards. I don't even know what was going on there. I loved how they turned out. But often, sometimes, or I say often and then sometimes, often in my rainbows, I will leave out purple. Sometimes just because it's not flowing for whatever reason, at least for me. But definitely if purple is your jam, you use all the purple you want. We're going to do a nice little pink frosting. I will tell you that I forgot to do this because it was near the end of the day and I was tired, I think. I thought it would be really fun to add Nuvo crystal drops in White Blizzard to my cupcake to make it look like a frosted, sugary kind of cupcake top or cupcake frosting, and I forgot, which I'm kind of bummed about. I also think a nice fine glitter over a thin layer of liquid glue would look beautiful on this. So just some options that if you are wanting to duplicate or replicate or do something similar, I think that would look amazing and I would love to see it. So definitely let me know if you create a card with that because I think it would just be fun. And then our strawberry on top, that's going to be red, light carmine, light green, and yellow green. And yes, the little seeds there, we're going to add some detail to those, but I'm going to wait until I have die cut this image because I'm going to use a black gel pen. And if you die cut after you've already used it, it kind of flattens out that gel pen and I don't like that. I've adhered my cupcake down centered in the middle of this, or yeah, centered at the bottom of this one. Most of my others are hanging off a side, whether it be the right or the left side. And we've got this guy down at the bottom. And we're going to stamp "You Are My Sweetest Blessing" on white cardstock. I played around with a couple of sentiments. I kind of thought I'd use this friend one, and then I ended up using "You Are My Sweetest Blessing." Part of the reason is I wanted to show you guys how awesome the coordinating die for this is. So I have stamped it with black VersaFine ink because I really want it to stand out against the rainbow. I'm going to die cut it, and it's going to die cut around this so beautifully. First of all, it die cuts really close to the letters, but not so close that it cuts them off or it's hard to line up. And then it die cuts all the little inside pieces. So anything that's, some companies would just kind of die cut the perimeter. This die cuts all those little bits and pieces, and I just think it's brilliant. I really, really love this about their coordinating sentiments. We're going to back this with a little foam adhesive and then pop that up along the bottom of this Oh, I love that black sentiment against this bold, bright rainbow. Here's our black glaze pen for the seeds of our strawberry. And then we're going to finish with some fun little clay hearts in rainbow. We're going to do, I think, 6 little hearts. So we're going to scatter a trio up in the left corner. We're going to have a couple over on the right, and then we're going to have one little heart centered down on the cupcake wrapper underneath the word blessing. I was going to do it up above, but you're going to notice I'm just going to wipe away that glue. Let's pretend I didn't do that. Oh, actually I have more than that. Looks like I have another little pink heart over here on the side. So end up with 7 little clay hearts. And I like it down here at the bottom much better. Yeah, that looks good. Place this on a white top fold card base and we're all finished. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for these big and bold cards featuring Colorado Craft Company new stamps and dies from the December 2020 release. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Colorado Craft Company stamps that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I am so grateful you're here, and we'll see you next time.